Hey everyone, Elias here from We Aim for Self-Defense. Gonna have a short video here, and it's basically talking about some problems I encountered. So far, I've really liked to focus these videos on constructive things as opposed to tearing down equipment or criticizing it. It's not because I have any type of allegiance towards any of these manufacturers of any related equipment, because I do not. It's more because I'm such a beginner that I'm reluctant to blame equipment of any kind before I really dig deep and know for certain that it's not a user error, that it wasn't some issue that I've had. And we've talked a little bit about this in the past. We've talked about how, for example, we had some issues putting in or loading up and firing hollow point ammunition into our Taurus G3. And let you know when I had issues with that, but I wasn't blaming the gun, I wasn't blaming the ammunition. I looked into it, I saw it was a common thing with that type of pistol, and learned that by polishing the feed ramp in the pistol, we could really alleviate that problem. And also by finding a particular type of ammunition. In this case, hollow point 9mm from Ammunition Incorporated, they work perfectly in that, right? So I'm reluctant to blame equipment when I'm such a beginner because to me, my first go-to assumptions are there's things that I'm not doing, or there's things I'm doing incorrectly, or there's things I need to learn about how the equipment should work optimally that I don't currently know, and my ignorance is resulting in some type of failure. At this point, though, although I don't know that it's not something that I'm doing wrong or can't at least change up in my practice or the way I use the equipment, I have to bring up the fact that these Winchester 9mm 115 grain full metal jacket target practice cartridges are giving me some problems. We've had about 600 rounds at this point through or attempted to put 600 rounds through a pistol in practice. And we're averaging about 20% failures. Things aren't always feeding well, but then even when they are feeding well, sometimes they're not firing at all, and I need to discharge the round, and we've tried different ways. We've tried loading ammunition in different orders and different magazines, doing them one at a time, inspecting them, and we're going to look at some of these cartridges here. This is from the last 200 round we tried to put through. I didn't collect all of them, but you'll see there's over 20 cartridges here that some visibly are messed up, and some, to the naked eye, I haven't been able to find the blemishes that might be at fault, but they didn't fire, and I tried repeatedly. This 200 round range pack was around $76. I got it because it was inexpensive, a little bit more inexpensive than some of the other things that I've used without problems. So again, I'm not ruling out just, that I'm doing something wrong, or that maybe I just can use other ammunition, but I gotta, because other full metal jacket rounds, cartridges, have worked pretty much flawlessly with this pistol, and I keep the pistol clean, and Winchester is just, over a course of about 600 rounds now, are just giving me multiple failures of some type per magazine sometimes. I've got to mention it to you all. So we have from this last range day, I think over 20 rounds here out of 200 that didn't fire. I was able to eject them and then find them on the ground. I couldn't find all of them. Some of them, let's see if I can kind of focus this a little better. Some of these you can see, they have major blemishes that clearly are to blame. Here's a piece of this metal popping out, not working well. This didn't even make it into the gun. This was just in the box. Now, in this 200 round range pack, there's 2 boxes in these, each with loosely packed 100 round smaller boxes, right? So these aren't lined up nicely. They are just kind of thrown in there. And when that happens, I don't know why exactly. When that happens, maybe just because they're up against one another and just all over the place and just piled on top in no particular order. With the shipping and all that, things get messed up. It might also be indicative of the care or lack thereof for these inexpensive, relatively inexpensive rounds. Cartridges, practice cartridges, Full Metal Jacket style, that manufacturers put into, right? If you get, I've always had less problems with more expensive rounds, and also those more expensive rounds happen to be packaged differently. They're either in like nicely placed, I imagine these are upside down, little slots for each individual cartridge, or they're at least lined up in neat rows with like little cardboard cards underneath and on top of. These are kind of thrown in, so it might be the cause of some of these blemishes. It might be indicative of just overall carelessness for things at this price point. I don't know, but this is over, you can count for yourselves. I think there's 22 or 23 here out of 200. So that's just far too many for me. I'm wasting a lot of money at this point. Again, this is Winchester brand, and it's 115 grain, 9mm, Full Metal Jackets I'm having problems with. Full Metal Jacket, you know, these are rounded. They're not hollow point defense rounds that will ideally expand and do more damage in the organs, but also be less likely to go through a target and hit unintended targets in the unlikely and tragic scenario that we have to defend ourselves. So yeah, I'm going to recommend that folks at least be aware of the problems that I'm having. Again, this isn't just, you know, a 20 round box that I'm complaining about. This is over a couple months after I've cleaned the gun several times, tried different oils, polished up the feeding ramp, after I've kind of solved my little issue with the hollow point failure to feed. I'm still having issues with these Winchesters just not firing. And I myself am not educated enough to know just by visual inspection what the problem may be in these rounds as opposed to the ones that fired well. They're feeding in for the most part, but just not firing. So I'm hoping that the customer service is better than whatever the manufacturing process is for these. I just want to at least let them know, right? I'm looking to buy a lot of things for myself and for students, and range ammunition that in some type of, not bulk, but like some type of little quantity, it's a little less expensive, is always going to pique my interest. And that's why I kept on giving this a chance over and over and over. But at this point, I'm not saving money. If I save $1 or $2 for every 50 rounds or 100 rounds, but I am losing 10 to 15% of the cost just because the ammunition is unusable, then it's not worth it. So again, unfortunately, testing things out is expensive. I will report back and let you know what I hear back from the company, and hopefully at least we can alert them to some issues that we're having, and maybe if they hear from enough people, if it's a pattern, they can correct it. So keep you all posted. Thanks.